I waited a little bit of extra time to review Raw and talk about some quick WWE news for a reason that I'll explain later in this video. But this is my review on Raw from this past Monday night, as well as a couple pointers that I want to make in WWE and TKO as a whole on Screw the Script. Raw on this past Monday night, now a couple of days ago, while you're watching this, it was another longer show that was close to 3 hours, and I had 5 matches on it, which on paper you're like, wow, 5 matches from Raw? Well, I'll be damned, but no. 5 matches where only one of them was of pretty good quality. And I'm going to explain that later on, why I feel that way, and it is almost a realization or an epiphany that I had hit within myself, where I took some extra time before making this review because I wanted to double check and make sure I wasn't crazy, to say the least. So I'll get to that point in a minute, but let's just kind of quick run down what happened on Raw. It started with Paul Heyman coming out, and there was only 2 good things of Raw that I liked from this past Monday. You may have liked all of it. I only liked the bookends of it. This opening promo with Paul Heyman was really, really good. This was a really good promo, and he had a memorable line that I kind of jotted down here, saying he is always the bad guy, and he gets screwed over and still the bad guy. Well, not this time. He's going to be the one that, turns on the person that they're working with versus the opposite, which has been, historically what's happened in his career as a manager. And, I side with them. I agree. You know what? Paul Heyman needs to do Paul Heyman for a damn change. He turned on Punk and Reigns before they got the chance to turn on him, like so many have done before back in his early days. And, the 2000s of WWE, his ECW days, and so forth. So I really liked that part. And now we'll get on to the main chunk of the show, most of the show that I just did not really like. First off, again, I have to say it every week because it happens every week, but it took 32 minutes of this show before we got our first match. And it was Penta versus JD. I've expressed this countless times, so I'll bring it up again. I really think Penta is watered down in WWE. He does the same 3 big moves. It's like they're like, let's look at Penta's move arsenal that he has, and let's just cherry pick a few things that are safe, won't hurt him, even though he's making a lot of money. Like, we'll just do that one, and that one, and that one. Oh, that's a little too dangerous. No, we can't do that. Well, we're entertainers first in WWE. That's literally how it makes me feel. I know that's probably a bit much, and that impersonation, I don't even know what that was, but you get my point that I'm trying to make across, is he feels watered down. JD hit a Spanish fly that looked pretty solid, and he attempted a moonsault or something of that matter off the top rope. He was basically as impressive as Penta was in the ring. And Penta's supposed to be your next big luchador. Make that make sense, TKO and WWE. I just don't like it. He wins with a Mexican Destroyer, which is, cool. But like, so many people do destroyers now. It's really nothing special. Austin Theory went on to lose to a near-retired Sheamus, who's almost 50 years old. I don't know what he did to piss off Triple H or the Raw GM or something, but the downfall of Austin Theory has to be studied because, man, oh man, I don't think I've ever seen such a young, talented wrestler like himself, who did have a good run in WWE in his first few years, is just non-existent. He hasn't done shit. They don't give him shit. They make him job now. He loses to pretty much everyone that he faces, if it's a singles match especially. And A-Town Down Under is basically irrelevant now. And I really liked what they had going with those two. So I think that's a big mistake there. Also, that match was 10 minutes long, give or take 30 seconds. We saw Dom versus Penta announced for the IC title at Backlash, so that was a little exciting. We'll see if maybe that's where they finally break out Penta, because I've been, crossing my fingers hoping for it to happen, and it is yet to happen. Becky being a heel, later on she came out to cut the promo. I still think at her age, she's 38. She just, this is a problem that WWE has, especially with their women's wrestlers, is their top stars, by the time they become top stars, are all over 30. And whether you like it or not, excuse me, whether you like it or not, women's wrestlers don't wrestle as long because it's just the nature of, being female. And, Becky Lynch, now that she's 38, you could see it in her face, her physique, everything. She doesn't look like how she did back in 2017. And that's just the sad nature of it all. I don't think the crowd wants her to be heel. It's really hard to have her come back after her long hiatus, after having the child with Rollins, and have her immediately turn heel a week after she returns. I think it was a bad move, but we'll see where it goes. Later on, I have Roxanne versus Io. The entrances, this was a big issue I had that I've mentioned before. The entrances and the promos and the ads that happened in between was 7 minutes. I clocked it. And guess what? This match was also 10 minutes long, give or take 30 seconds. And here's the point that I wanted to make, this big issue that I have with WWE, where I thought I was stir crazy for the longest time. I'm talking months and months, probably a couple of years now, on how they produce weekly Raw, SmackDown episodes and their matches, and the fact that they are very much, especially now with TKO running things, they are very much entertainment first. I feel like the Oscars with sprinkled in wrestling. This is the reason. For a while, WWE matches on Raw and SmackDown, for the most part, have always felt the same, cut and paste almost. Tonight's matches were all around 10 minutes, besides a squash match, which I'll get to in a second, and the main event. It really shows that WWE is entertainment first when their matches all feel so identical in quality and length. Go back and note down the start and end times for each match if you don't believe me. You'll find that they're all around 10 minutes, give or take 30 seconds, which is why I spent a little extra time before coming out with this review. Yeah, 3 of the 5 matches were exactly almost on the nose 10 minutes long. It's like WWE behind the scenes is like, all right, guys, come on in, sit down, grab some crackers, grab some milk, because we're PG, and we're going to show you how to put exactly a 10-minute match on. Nothing more, nothing less, unless it's going to be a squash or a title match. And that's how every single match almost feels like on Raw and SmackDown. And I thought I'd been crazy for the longest time, but this makes me almost want to go back to multiple episodes of Raw in the past and see if the same thing occurs. I'm going to do it again this upcoming Raw. I'm going to jot down the exact start and end times because I watched the replay on Netflix. And yeah, I jotted down okay, this match started at 46 minutes and 10 seconds. It ended at 56 minutes and 20 seconds. Oh, another 10-minute match. That's why they feel so repetitive and boring and cut and paste to me. And then another issue that I have, which I'll talk about next year. Another issue that I have is Michael Cole saying the line, Rusev coming back to WWE to redeem himself, or somewhere along the lines of that, during his 5-minute squash match. I hope they give him something better than just squashing people, because those two, Otis and Tozawa, don't make my roster. If I was the Raw GM, they're cut. They're terrible. They've been used terribly for a long time. They're nothing but a lame comedic act. Then neither of them are really all that good in the ring. But anyways, going back to what the line that Michael Cole said, that frustrates me. Back in the day, AEW got a lot of shit for always mentioning WWE, which, they did. They mentioned them quite a bit. But in the last 6 months or so, other than once or twice, they've basically never mentioned them. I think Tony Khan was finally like, okay, let's dial it down. Let's stop doing this. And now you see it almost flip-flop. There have been so many times now in the last few months where WWE has taken subtle shots towards AEW, and yet that was another one by Michael Cole. That's all I had to say on that. We'll get to the next point now. Gunther should have retained at WrestleMania because they should have made an awesome feud between Gunther and a returning Rusev for the title instead of Jey Uso having it, because I just don't think Jey is very deserving. Instead, now, you got an undeserving champ who can't even throw a fucking super kick properly. Look at this photo. Comparing it to Shawn Michaels, the all-time great at the super kick. I got a poster of him right behind me if you haven't noticed, which I don't know how you haven't noticed if you haven't. That photo alone proves that, Jey Uso is just not that good in the ring. His super kicks are terrible. All he does is a Spanish or a splash off the top rope that we've seen for 4 decades with wrestlers. It's nothing special. He's really nothing special in the ring. It's just the fact, his namesake and his background, his family lineage in pro wrestling has basically helped him get to where he is more so than his actual in-ring talent. And I'm sorry if you disagree, but that's just how I feel about that. Instead, Gunther is now getting jobby matches, matches aren't fucking, don't matter a thing. He's gonna face retired punter Pat McAfee. Like, come on. And then you cut 33 people in this year. And I'm sure a lot of that money is going to celebrities. Pat McAfee's contract, I'm sure, is pretty hefty. And all these other things that I think are just bad moves. At least, like, Jay and Gunther was for the title. And I didn't really care about that feud until they kind of drew me in towards WrestleMania season. Or the last few weeks before WrestleMania, they finally drew me in that feud. But then, awful match at WrestleMania. This is not even for a title. It's literally just Gunther having a fit and choking out a commentator easily. And now we're supposed to believe that McAfee's going to be able to go in the ring against Gunther. This is a lose-lose. Either you have Gunther just obliterate McAfee and then it was a pointless match, or the more likely outcome that we're going to see is that Pat McAfee somehow lasts like 15 minutes in the ring against Gunther, who used to be the most dominant IC champ that WWE has seen in many years. It is such a downfall for Gunther, and this is absolutely bullshit. The most exciting thing that happened on Raw besides the main event in the opening promo was the video package that we got for John Cena and Randy Orton. Those two have had such a great history in the WWE, and the fact that I got that excited for just a promo, which I usually complain about promos in WWE, just goes to show that I rightfully do believe in what I've said plenty of times before now on this channel, that I think WWE struggles to create young stars. Name me two more young stars besides Braun Breaker and Dominic Mysterio that are under the age of 30 that are just top elite stars already. There's no one. There really is no one. Maybe there's a female competitor that I'm forgetting because a lot of them are young. I guess you could maybe say like Roxanne Perez, but I don't think Io Sky is under 30 anymore. I could be wrong. Maybe she is. But the point is there's only a few, maybe 5 total in WWE that are all under 30 that are bona fide stars already. Whereas back in the day, you had Cena and Orton were stars before they were even 30. They were stars by 25. Randy Orton was the youngest world champ in history before I think Brock Lesnar broke it and maybe someone else recently now, and John Cena took off real fast too. And it's 2025, and I'm sitting there enjoying this promo so much, wishing that WWE was the way it was versus the way it is now. And it just really solidified that in my brain. Like, wow, like, what in the hell is WWE going to be like 5 to 10 years from now when guys like that are for sure done? Like Orton's retired. Cena's fully retired. Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, AJ Styles, Roman Reigns. I could go on for probably an hour. All of those guys are already pushing 40 or over 40. CM Punk is 46 or something like that. In 5 to 10 years, all of those guys are going to be gone. All of them. Where are your young stars, WWE, besides the 5 that they probably have that are under 30? And finally, we'll talk about the main event real quick. Rollins, yet again, just proves why I think he is the best pound-for-pound wrestler in the WWE. I think he really carried that match. I mean, the most exciting thing that Jey Uso had in that match was the fact that he lost his shoe during their announce table spot. The match was really good, though. Rollins has been my favorite wrestler for the last 10 years in WWE, and that hasn't changed. And then the ending was crazy. So you get a match that was actually over 10 minutes for a change, unlike most of the matches. This was about 18 minutes long. I clocked it in at. The ending was crazy. You had Braun Breaker come out, and you think Rollins was about to win the title, and then CM Punk comes out and costs him the title, and furthers that feud. I feel like we're going to see more of Rollins and Punk, which I'm excited to see. That's really all I had to say on the main event. Like I said at the beginning of this video, the opening promo and the main event were the only 2 things that I really loved, and then some announcements that were trickled in here and there. All in all, this was an average Raw, like a C. The main event basically saved the night because the other matches were they just weren't that good. They were so cut and paste, like I've said before. Now let's get to a quick WWE update on some news. WWE has dropped their trademark rights to Edge, and he can now use that name in AEW if he pleases. So are we going to see Adam Copeland go back to Edge now that the name is free? It is not part of WWE property anymore. Just wanted to make that quick announcement if you haven't seen it, although it has been circulating. But if you haven't seen it, well, there's the update right there. WWE has dropped the Edge name from their trademark, and now Adam can freely use it over in AEW if he pleases. I sure hope he does, because it is so damn hard to not call him Edge. He's been Edge his whole entire career, so I sure hope that he takes that back. That's all I had for you on Screw the Script. This has been Maverick. You let me know down below what you think about Raw and what you think TKO and WWE, how they're doing in 2025. I've expressed it in the last few videos now, how I feel about TKO. But if you agree with me, if you disagree with me, just let me know down below. As always, thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your week.